Hi, welcome to the Black Experience Japan's Melanated Files. The purpose of this series is to highlight the black people living in Japan. Who are they?
My name is Lawrence. I'm from Raleigh, North Carolina in America. I've always wanted to come to Japan, probably since I was in high school, maybe junior year in high school. I kind of knew I was gonna come. There was just something, but I was originally into Japanese cars. I used to love cars back then, and I used to watch a lot of YouTube videos, and they were all in Japanese. And I just thought it would be cool if I could learn Japanese. And so initially I started trying to teach myself how to speak Japanese on my own. Didn't really work out that well. So after that, I was on wrestling scholarship in college. So I did that, and one of the stipulations for me going to a school was if they had a Japanese program so I could learn Japanese. I got accepted into App State, and then I studied abroad for 3 months, and then went to Fukuoka, and from there I just that kind of solidified everything, and I knew I was going to come just based on those 3 months. Now I am a teacher. I teach business classes for companies. This is my second year. Yeah, so it's been pretty good. My favorite Japanese food is okonomiyaki. What do I like the most about Japan? I think that answer is going to be very personally for me. I've been afforded a lot of opportunities that I wasn't back home. There's a lot of things that I can do here that I wasn't able to do back home just because of, I don't know, maybe just a lot of things that I have to go through back home that I don't really have to deal with here. I have my own place. I don't have to have a roommate. That's the biggest thing. Is I have my own space. I can take care of myself. Yeah, just things like that. It's very easy to live here compared to where it was back home for me. Probably the way that I have to communicate with people. If it's between a Western and a Japanese person, I think that the biggest issue, and I've heard other people say it too, is just the way you have to communicate with people or tell them how they need to communicate with you. There are a lot of misunderstandings that could be solved just based off of a simple conversation. But that conversation can never happen because Japanese people don't know how to communicate that way. So it's a struggle trying to find a happy medium to come together so that we both understand and can work around the problem with that barrier being in place right now. The difference in communication and the language barrier maybe sometimes. I think one of the biggest things that kind of helped change who I am or become who I am today is just to believe in myself. As a child, I struggled a lot with self-confidence and a lot with just believing that I was good enough. Just based on my environment, there were a lot of things that I had to, overcome and deal with as a child. I was always being made fun of, picked on, bullied, and it was really hard to kind of come up above that and realize that what they're saying to you it doesn't matter. And that's one of the things one of my old wrestling coaches used to tell me all the time, when you start believing in yourself, you're gonna be unstoppable. At the time I really didn't know what he was talking about. I was what do you mean believe in myself? What does that mean? And then as I got older, I started to develop more confidence in myself and what I wanted to do and believing that it was possible, and then seeing how other people had accomplished their dreams just based on their own having confidence in themselves and believing that they could do it. And so since I've been able to do that, it's been really beneficial to my existence, really. So I think if there was any advice I could give anybody was, don't ever doubt yourself. Always trust your gut and believe in whatever it is that you want to do, that it's possible and that you can do it, and trust the process. Oh, the worst advice. The worst advice would probably be the opposite. Is the people there's always going to be people in your life that have these limiting beliefs, and they're going to impose those on you. People that say stuff oh, well, you can't do this because X, Y, Z, or you can't do this because of this. I would say that's normally bad advice, and anybody that is giving you things that you need to consider as a hurdle is normally bad advice, and I wouldn't listen to it. I would find a way to work around it. Just love yourself. Just believe in who you are. You're here for a reason. Don't let other people's bad experiences shape how your experiences are going to be, if that makes sense. we'll all have different experiences. There are a lot of people I know that struggle with that. Like they take, other people's experiences and make them their own, and they never give themselves a chance to like experience it for themselves. So, just, find out what you're here for if you can, or make that a priority every day, and, dedicate your life to finding out why you're here, and you'll figure it out. My experience has actually been pretty good as a black man in Japan, to be honest. But I've been to Japan before, and every time that I've been to Japan, I've never really had a super negative experience where I'm like, man, Japan, I don't want to be here anymore. Or like these people are like yada yada. I've never really had an experience like that. Like I understand that there's, people have microaggressions and they have opinions about me based on stuff that they've seen on TV, or like based on something that one of their friends told them or something. But overall, like my experience has been pretty good. I don't really experience the whole Japanese people not wanting to sit next to you on the train. I don't really experience, a lot of those things that I see other people complaining about as much. Like for the most part, I carry out as a normal person, like I would back home. Another thing is I also kind of stick to myself. I have Japanese friends and I have, friends here, but like for the most part, I chill at home and stuff. So, but when I do go out, I don't really experience any like bad or negative things. Like everybody's really nice to me. Like a lot of people, I have people that come up to me and just like want to talk to me for whatever reason. But another thing I think that helps with that is that I feel like I can speak passable Japanese. So sometimes if they'll speak to me in English, and then they'll speak to me in English, and then they'll switch to Japanese once I say something to them, and then it's just like a normal conversation. But I think overall it's been pretty good. There's some things I've had to adjust to, and some things that I didn't really agree with sometimes where I got a little frustrated, but overall it's been pretty good. Oh my God, I have so many funny experiences here. My first time in Japan was in Fukuoka, and I had dreads when I first came here. And Fukuoka is not it's not a big city, but it's pretty big. It's big for like what Fukuoka is, right? So like everything is like pretty much in the same vicinity. Like you have like clubs, you have the convenience stores, you have like restaurants, all in this one like big block. And so I was going there for language school, and they let us out for lunch at like 12 p.m. like 12. And I went to the convenience store because it was like right there. I didn't want to walk anywhere to a restaurant. And I have dreads, so I see this Japanese dude walking, and he's got dreads too. so he walks into the convenience store, and I walked in like right behind him. I got my lunch, and it just so happened that like he was behind me whenever I was leaving. And so he stops me. He's like, "Oh, you have really nice hair." He's like, and we had like this long conversation, like broken Japanese and English. And he invited me to the club that night because it was a Friday, it was a Friday. And this is like 7 years ago. So like it was a Friday, and I was like, I really thought about it. I wasn't gonna go at first. I was like, I don't know if I want to go to that. And so I ended up going to this club, and so like I'm looking for this dude. He gave me his line information or his email, because I didn't have a smartphone. I had like this phone that I rented there, and so like everything was through email back then. So I had like a Japanese email address, and I messaged him on the email thing, and so I'm in this club, and like just to kind of describe the way this club was, like there's a like you walk in, and then there's like, so you if you look right, or on this side there's a bar, and then if you come around like this little bend, and there's like this dance floor, and then to the left there's like this booth type thing. And so for some reason, like the path like to the dance floor was like crowded, so you couldn't see the booth. And he told me he was in the booth, so I had to like mush through all these people like to find this dude. And then so he's sitting there, and then I look around, and then there's like a bunch of other Japanese dudes on the table too, and they all have dreads too. So I joined a dread cult basically while like my first 3 months in Japan. Like I joined a dread cult. Like I still talk to those dudes sometimes, like to this day. Like one of them like cut his hair or something like that. But it was very interesting, like just to see like how, you meet one person and then something like that happens. But yeah, like other little minor things, like I always have, like when I was working in the school systems, I always have kids like asking me, I don't know why I think this is funny, but they always ask me, why is the top of your hand black but the bottom is white? And so like I always get a kick out of that, and I always tell them to ask God. I always tell them in Japanese, ask God, maybe he'll tell you. For black people, I would highly recommend it, especially if you're black from the US. I think that there are a lot of things that you could take from an experience like this, like, and not everybody hates us. Like we're not, you know, like in America we get a bad rep, but like here, like they don't know, like it's not the same. Like we have the ability to kind of start over and like create our own path here, and you know, do what we want to do, which is normally just like live a normal life, like without all the extra hurdles and struggles that we have to go through, especially in America. So I would say, like, you know, if you can and you really are thinking about it, you can just give it a try. Like just come visit just to see how it is. There's a lot of people out here that, you know, really like respect us and like want us around. So I would just say, you know, look at it as something that you should try. Come to Japan. I know there's a lot of people here that are like, this is, you know, gauge for people that are thinking about coming. I was on the fence for a long time about coming, like permanently, or like moving here for a while. And I would say it was probably one of the best things I did for myself was moving out here. And just because like the way I look at it is, you know, nobody can ever take this experience away from me, and it's a box I've checked. Like nobody can ever take that away from you. Like even if it doesn't work out, even if it, you know, it's not what you thought it was, like you can't let the fear kind of hold you back from, you know, experiencing something new. I think I forget who said it, but God placed the best experiences on the other side of fear. So like if that is something that you're afraid of, is coming to Japan, like, and that's what you're like, that's holding you back, is the fear of the unknown. Usually the fear of the unknown means that like everything that you're looking for is on the other side of that. So I'd like to like develop a presence as an artist here in Japan. I really like to like get some of my artwork in the galleries or figure out how to do that. I have an Instagram. It's called nolawz_.
Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to see weekly videos about the Black experience in Japan, feel free to subscribe to this channel. If you know someone that would like to be featured, or if you yourself would like to be featured, send us a message on our Facebook page at The Black Experience Japan, or send us a tweet on Twitter at TheBlackXJP. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.